he's going to do is he's going to walk up to your window and he's going to say license and registration, and then he's going to ask you a series of questions. He's going to start by asking you where you're going, what you're doing, where you're coming from. Me personally, I am naturally, I'm not naturally abrasive, but I'm not agreeable. If you listen to what Jordan Peterson teaches and you read the 12 rules for life, you'll find out very quickly that on the spectrum of disagreeability, men are the furthest disagreeable on the spectrum. You compare men and women and you'll be able to see that men and women fall in line on a spectrum of intelligence, of emotional aptitude, of tenacity, of motivation, of empathy. Men and women have the same kinds of things. But if I get pulled over right this second and there's a cop behind me, he's going to walk up to me and start questioning me. And as you know, I am not an agreeable person, especially when you're asking me what I'm doing or where I'm going. I will immediately pull this out. And the reason why I'll pull it out immediately is because I'm not going to be nice. I can't be nice to police. I can be nice if they're not questioning me and trying to make me the subject of their interrogation. The moment they start that nonsense with me, my dander gets up, my eyes get focused, and I become alpha, like it or not. I've been reading all the comments about people saying, oh, this, that. No, I become very alpha. You're not going to tell me what to do or how to do it. And if you start to question me, what I'll say to you is, where are you going? Or I'll say something like, he'd say, where are you going? I'll say, I'm heading over to your wife's house right now, actually, for the regular afternooner, because I don't like cops. I'm not nice to them. So that's part of the reason why I made this. Not for me, because I enjoy kind of destroying these guys. I think that they're garbage. But for you, I don't want you to start to answer questions to the cop. If he asks you where you're going or what you're doing, you simply pull this down from your visor. You take this down from your visor, you pull it down, and he starts to ask you questions, you simply show him this. Don't be me. Oh shoot, my collar's all jacked up here. Don't be me. Don't put yourself in a vicarious position. Let me fix my collar real quick. Sorry about that, guys. Don't put yourself in a vicarious position with these jackboot swine balls who sign up to hurt people. Remember, police don't sign up because they're a good guy, because they want to help you out. Police sign up because they enjoy doing what they do to people. They enjoy it. They like it. How many people do you know that when you first interact with them, they walk up to you and they go, hey, where are you going? Where are you coming from? You smoking any weed? Anything in the car I need to know about? Do you do that to people? When your friend or your cousin or your best friend or your lover pulls up, do you go, hey, where are you coming from? And where are you heading? You don't do those things, do you? No, you do not. So when the cops pull you over, immediately invoke your Fifth Amendment right. Give them your license, your registration, and invoke your Fifth Amendment right not to answer any questions. And it's very simple. Here's my license. Here's my registration. Here you go, sir. Just put this right here. There you go, sir. I hope you're having a great day, officer. I hope everything's going great for you today. You can be as kind and as nice and as loving as you want to these guys. I'm not that nice. I'm not that kind. I'm not that loving to police officers. But you can do it. You can do it. However, what you don't want to do is when he asks you a question, if you say, I'm going to decline to answer, he might get an attitude with you. Very good chance. Remember, he's trying to collect data. He's trying to get your information, whether it be your phone number, your address, your email, where you're going, where you're coming from, where you live, what's your home state, how long have you lived at this address? Is this the current address on your license? Police are constantly trying to gather data on who? On you. You're the target. And I believe, dang it, I just listened to him last night too. I can't remember his name now. I've been listening to this conservative speaker, Chris Hedges. I've been listening to Chris Hedges. I was listening to one of Chris Hedges' speeches last night, and he said something very, very telling. And I was like, so all the conservatives, like you go to Turning Point USA and they're just back the blue. I really was enjoying Turning Point USA until all this cop sucking stuff has come out, because I really am pretty conservative. I'm pretty conservative. considering all gun laws should be wiped away. But the point is, though, I don't want you... I was listening to Chris Hedges last night. I know I got my ADHD and I haven't... So I was listening to him last night, and he was explaining that when the corporate entities in America stop paying their fair share of taxes, because we have enough money through corporation in America, because the American corporations are the #1 corporations in the world. #1 in the world. And so when you know that the American corporations are the richest, they have the most money, they have the most assets, they have the most ability, they have the most capital. And so Chris Hedges was saying on one of his speeches last night, he was saying, when the American corporations stop paying taxes, the cities, municipalities, boroughs, and states began to use people as revenue generating machines. 30% of most of the city, municipality, and state's revenue comes directly from ticketing and fining the American public. This only happened from the 80s forward. Before that, in the 60s and the 70s, when the tax rate was proper and the corporations had to pay taxes, we weren't used as piggy banks. It was more of a racist, authoritarian thing back then. So what I don't want you to do, though, is when the cop comes up and says to you, hey, where are you going and what are you doing? I don't want you to say, I declined to answer, officer. I don't want you to say that. I don't want you to have that back and forth. I want you to say, officer, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Will you read this for me, sir? Thank you. I appreciate that. And you go, oh, just tell me where you're going. You just say, officer, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And just repeat it. It's funny because I didn't get to do this when I dressed up like that clown with the cop uniform on, but the back and forth between citizen and police, they're going to continue to question you. They're going to continue to ask you, come on, you got any marijuana in there? It should sound like a broken conversation when you talk to a cop, because he's going to be questioning you and asking you questions. Where are you going? What are you doing? How are you doing it? And you should be going, oh yeah, it's a beautiful day today, isn't it? Well, where are you going? Nice day, huh? Where are you coming from? Beautiful. Look at this. Nice day, huh? Just tell me where you're going. At that point, you simply just take your form from your visor right here and you just put it in his hand. Do not say, I refuse to answer. And it says right there, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I've invoked. You can even point like this. You can even indicate. Right there. Right there. That's right there. Right here. Right there. Right there. Because the Supreme Court in, I believe it's going to be, it's out of Laredo, Texas. The Supreme Court has stated that you have to invoke your Fifth Amendment right. It's not simply implied because it's your natural God-given right not to implicate yourself. So I don't want you to have that back and forth with the cop. When the cop comes to your window, I don't want you to tell him, I refuse to answer any questions. I don't want you to say that. I want you to say things nice. I don't want you to be me. I don't want you to put yourself in the crosshairs. I want you to say, I hope you're having a great day, officer. Here you go. And then point right at it. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. You don't even have to say it. You just have to indicate it. And this is from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, just a disgusting group of oligarchs. It's disgusting. It really is. I'm sorry. I get my OCD going. But I don't want you to tell him questions. I don't want you to have that. Listen, I live in the fire, man. I was baptized in the fire. I was born in the fire. When I'm not fighting someone, I wonder how come life's going so smooth for me. There has to be someone along the line I've pissed off, or someone along the line who stands against me. And there's a very famous saying, when you take a stand for anything, there's someone standing against you on the other side. So every time I'm not in a fight with someone about something, I always wonder to myself, where is it coming from? So I don't want you to tell the cop that you're not going to answer his questions. I don't want you to have that conversation with the cop. I want you to show him that you're invoking your Fifth Amendment right. Just put this right in his hand. Officer, here you go, sir. Here you go, sir. Here you go, officer. There you go. And you can even take your finger and you can tap right there. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, because I don't want you to go to jail. I don't want you to. So I may have to go back to Phoenix tomorrow or the next day to file my appeal for that Tempe court case where they gave me tickets for no reason and there was no causation, the judge said. I posted that on my Facebook, the trial in Tempe, the kangaroo court led by, and by the way, municipality judge, guess what, hon? Guess what's coming? I'm coming. I'm coming. And I'm coming legally. I'm coming through the court system. I'm not threatening anybody here. I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in breaking the law. So that municipality lawyer who stepped in as a magistrate, hey, honey, I'm coming for you legally. I'm coming for you. And I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, but guess what, babe? I'm coming for you. And it's going to be through the court system, everything legal, above board. And I'm starting this week. I can't wait. I can't wait. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday. I talked to him this morning too. And I'm going to leave him anonymous until we decide we're going to go public here. But he told me that when you listen to that trial, the judge breaks the law. And as soon as she breaks the law and practices law from behind the bench, she's open to civil litigation. Now, I thought that Tenney versus Brandoff from 1951 clearly gave judges immunity. And that's why I'm saying this out loud, because my friend said to me that you can sue her personally. I can sue her personally, which I'm going to do a little bit more research on this. But I just came on this Sunday morning because I know you guys see me and I am rough and I am abrasive and I am very A personality. And I've talked to cops. I've been arrested. I don't know how many times. I can't count. Before this camera phone existed, because I'm a Gen X, I was arrested at least 24 times. At least 24 times. Because I would see cops abusing people or doing crappy things. And I would walk over to them and I'd go, "You are such a loser, dude." And they would arrest me. I've been to jail in 5 or 6 states before the camera phone existed. And I still have no criminal record. So you explain that to me. How do you get arrested 24 times and you never get convicted of anything? Meaning that you were arrested for contempt of cop. I don't want you to have that back and forth and put yourself in a position of versus the police. I want you to be as nice as apple pie and try to get out of the ticket by being kind. "Oh, how you doing today, officer? License and registration? Here's my license and registration. So where are you heading today?" "Oh, officer, here you go, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your service, officer. I appreciate your service." And he says, "Oh, I think I smell marijuana." I just flip it right over. "There it is, officer. Please take a look at this, sir. Thank you so much for performing a civic duty for our city, town, municipality, state, whatever that tyrant works for." You kill him with kindness. So you show him this. Don't get into a back and forth with cop. Do not. Invoke your Fifth Amendment right in writing. Show it to him in writing. Now, I'm filming in one hand, and I've got my trifold in the other hand. I hand this to him on camera. I put this to him on camera. Here you go. There it is, right there. Here you go, officer. "Well, where are you going?" "It's a beautiful day outside, isn't it?" "Well, where are you going?" Right there. And you don't have to say another word if you want, but often that's not how it goes. And you guys heard me in that trial with that judge, oh, by the way, all the trifolds this week, the ones that were ordered this week, shipped already. It should be coming in your mail, so check your mail. So when I reviewed that trial last night and I spent 2 hours, I recorded the conversation, and so I'll post the whole conversation on YouTube. Listen, I made a lot of mistakes because while I may be a constitutional law scholar as far as Supreme Court cases and jurisprudence and case precedent and things like that, I'm not a practicing lawyer. So people who are contacting me, just remember that. I'm just a regular old dummy who educated myself. And I go to the University of Google on YouTube, and I go to the University of Google, and I just read and read and read. I woke up this morning and I read Barron versus Baltimore. I just read it again just to make sure I knew what it said. I read Cooper versus Aaron this morning. You guys can read that case as well. I read the 19, it doesn't matter. But the point is I don't want you guys to get into the back and forth with the cop. I don't. Because remember, I've become a target now. I'm a bullseye. You got these bootlickers making videos about me, and you got people, you know, in that Tempe court case, in the Arizona court case, you heard the whispering in the courtroom. If you listen to the live court, you heard the whispering in the courtroom, and then she's like, are you live streaming this? And you know what? I should not have turned that stream off, because section 122.1 of the Arizona code does not say I can't live stream. It says I have to set up in advance for my equipment to be set up in the courtroom. There's no equipment. We need to challenge the courts. I want to be able to record any court case, including the Supreme Court. We have to challenge these courts, and that's on the new platform I've written, that we get to record in the courtroom, that we get to have our phone, we have a recording device, we have a video device. Why in the world would justice be hidden? Why in the world? Because they're cheating us. They're cheating us in every court case. People are getting screwed left and right because you don't get a fair shake in court. You don't get fair shakes. It's not like you're going to get in there and the prosecutor's going to go, well, let me read this. Let's see, you drove down the road and then you went to make a U-turn. Why would you turn around in the middle of the road? Oh, the road was closed. Makes a lot of sense. Why would he turn around in the middle? So the cop pulls him over. Okay, that's fine. And it's not fine, but as we move forward, then the prosecutor or the prosecuting office should look at that and go, well, why did he turn around? Oh, the road was closed. Okay, makes sense to me. And I think that's called, I believe that is called the validation doctrine. What was it called? It's called the doctrine of understanding. I read so much stuff, man. I read so much stuff. And like I said, I'm no genius, folks. I'm just a guy who's tenacious and I keep on reading. So I want you guys to use this. I don't want you to have a back and forth with the cop. I don't want you to talk to him. Remember, that man's job, what he believes his job is to take you to a dungeon. He believes that his goal in life is to arrest you. He believes that he gets paid to take you to a dungeon, to put you in handcuffs and hurt you. I saw an arrest today where Terry stopped him on Facebook. Someone sent me that on Facebook. Thank you for sending me that. And the cop is literally saying that's a Terry stop. This is a Terry stop. And then he puts him in handcuffs. This idea that you need to be put in handcuffs the moment a cop interacts with you has got to go. Cops should not be able to put you in a handcuff. Hey, Jose, I appreciate you, but you're blocked from my channel, dude. Take care of yourself. Bye, Jose. Take care of yourself, dude. Don't ever come back, you piece of garbage. Because I have no respect for you, you bootlicker. You're gone, Jose. You're gone. You're gone. And so, I learned on TikTok that I don't want to spend any time on the trolls and the haters, because we have a mission. We have a goal. And by the way, Team Skeptic wrote to me. And you know what? Actually, just so you guys know, Team Skeptic, he's just a guy making a living, in case you guys didn't know. He sent me some emails. I sent him some emails. Team Skeptic, he's just a guy, he's just a guy making a living by doing what everybody else is doing on YouTube. And the only reason I'm on social media is because I have to create a following. So when we run for governor, we win the executive. So that when we put forth a new political party, there's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people who are following along this new political party. And that's what's going on. And that's the reason why I'm on social media. But Team Skeptic wrote me back. Team Skeptic wrote me back and he said, hey, let's do a panel where it's kind of a round robin. I wrote him back and I said, no, I just want to talk to you, bud. Because he's actually, on his videos, he comes off like he's some hard ass. He's not. He's a nice guy. He really is. He sent me some nice things. He really did. I appreciate you, dude. Thanks for sending those nice things. I don't have any hatred for you. I want to be able to change your perspective. That's what I want to do. I want to change your and listen, he has a channel where he's making money and he's having people come there, and the bootlickers are coming there to lick up the boots and lick the nuts of these cops and, back the blue until it happens to you. And so it's like, it's insane, but he's not a bad dude. But I wrote him back and I said, no, I want to have a debate. just me and you. He hasn't gotten back to me yet, so we'll see. But I'll be honest with you, just so you know, since June 20th of 2021, I have been offering anybody and everybody who wants to debate to have a debate. And what's really funny is the people who could actually debate me, who have the knowledge to debate me, they would likely agree with 95% of the things that I say. 95% of the messaging that I have, they would agree with. So you get pulled over, you look in your rearview mirror, there's a swine bucket in a swine car, and he's behind you. You see him, he walks up to your window, and he's like, license and registration. You give him your license and registration. He says, where are you going? And you say, it's a beautiful day today, officer, and you give him this. And then you simply tap on, I invoke my right to remain silent. Okay? You do not get into a back and forth with, remember, your first job is to survive the encounter with the Nazis. That's your first job, is to survive. That's your first job. Live through this. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, your second job is to try to make sure that you get out of the fine or the fee or the court date or the ticket. So you don't have to be a prick to this guy who's clearly a garbage man unless you are physically hurting someone, or unless you're causing damage, or you're so reckless that you need to be pulled over. He shouldn't be pulling you over, but he's pulling you over to get money out of you. So start off with the nice guy. How you doing, officer? Hope you're having a great day. Here's my license and registration. And then he says, where are you going? And you say, oh, I hope you're having a good day, officer. And you put this in his hand and you indicate right there. Take your finger and indicate. You have to indicate. It's a Supreme Court holding. I can't remember off the top of my head, but remember, it's fine. Right there, indicate. Indicate right there that that you're invoking your right to remain silent. And then if he says anything else to you, you simply go, officer. And you continue to show it to him. And now he's going to say some garbage, like he wants to search your car. Search your car is on here as well. He's going to say, and make sure you show him that, and you tell him, I do not consent to searches and seizures. And you show him to search your car. But the most common one is he's going to say, I smell marijuana. That's what he's going to say. Because no one can prove or disprove that he doesn't smell marijuana. So you have to show him this. And then at the bottom, it says what I would say. I'm not telling you to say that. You can point to this and say, right here, officer, right here. What I would say is, I've informed you of the holding and the current law. My rights are unequivocal. You have marijuana is not probable cause. That's why last night when I found that guy asleep in his car, look, if he had marijuana in his car, it's going to smell like weed in his car, but he was not impaired. I put my face next to his. You could not smell any alcohol. He wasn't wasted. I looked him in his eyes. You guys couldn't see because I was hiding his face because I don't want the cops to try to chase him down. So I looked into his eyes. I said, hey, are you sober? And he said, yeah. And he was tired, man. He was exhausted. And by the way, his car was full of stuff. His car was full of stuff like mine's full of stuff. So I thought maybe he actually was kind of living out of his car, to be honest. That's what I thought. And then I thought to myself, oh man, if they impound his car with all of his stuff in there, then he has to get it out of the impound yard, and he has to show proof of insurance, proof of registration. What if the car is registered in his mom's name? And then he's got to call his mom in Ohio and have his mom send a notarized letter to the tow company that's keeping his car hostage for more money, And listen, I know that when I speak, I go all over the place because there's a lot of information to share with you. I can't say that I'm sorry because I'm not. I have ADHD. I've had it my whole life. Only the last year or two have I faced it and tried to take it on. But my whole life I've had ADHD to levels that were incredible. When I was a kid, they tried to put me on Ritalin, and my sister said, if you take medication, then you take the short bus to school, meaning that you're mentally ill. And so I refused to take medication in elementary school, junior high school, and high school. It cost me. It cost me big time. I don't think the medication would have done me any good. It might have melted my brain. But having ADHD can cost you. It can cost you for sure. One of the symptoms of ADHD is you are partly delusional. People who have ADHD, according to the research that I've done, they will make up stories in their mind of things that they believe. I did it for years and years, and then when I started to realize that I must be making this stuff up, my brain fixed itself. I didn't have to learn it. I already learned it. But then when I read about it, it validated my thoughts. It validated my thoughts. And what it said was that people who have ADHD might create stories in their mind that aren't true. And when I read that, I was like, wow, how many times have I thought that girl doesn't like me and she does, or that guy's mad at me and he's not mad at me, or that teacher doesn't like me and she doesn't dislike me. I just created this idea in my head. And so I learned over time. So the ADHD allows me to have a wide spectrum of attention on multiple different stuff. Now, in Supreme Court case law and understanding case precedent, ADHD has served me extraordinarily well. Because I read Barron versus Baltimore this morning, Cooper versus Aaron, and I read another case that I can't remember, of course. It's in my notes. Plus, when you're live and you're on the spot, sometimes your memory doesn't do as well as you'd like. But I only came on Sunday morning because I do not want you guys to fight with a cop. I know you guys see me do it. I understand that. I'm putting my life on the line. I could die. They could kill me. You just understand that. You have a back and forth with some guy, and remember, cops are unstable garbage. They're unstable. Why else would you, when you take people to the dungeon every day, when you are trained that people are trying to kill you, when you're trained that little old lady's got a hand cannon down her pants, you are mentally skewed. So the cops that I dress down, that I beat up verbally, remember, I'm risking my life. I don't want you to do that. I don't. I want you to live on to change this country, to get rid of Terry v. Ohio and make the Supreme Court electable and break them up into 6 districts. And then we elect the top 9 judges out of those 54 elected judges. 9 times 6 is 54, 6 different districts of supremacy. And then we have thousands of judges we pay for criminal courts. So when the cop comes up to you, you simply invoke your 5th Amendment right. Do not have a fight with that cop. Don't do what I do. I mean, I can't tell you what to do. I'm advising you as a friend, as someone on a social media channel. Please don't do what I do. Don't do it. Don't. Just invoke your 5th Amendment right to remain silent immediately. Hey, how you doing? License and registration? Here you go. Where are you going today? Here you go, officer. Well, what does that mean? There you go, officer. And indicate, always indicate right here. I invoke my 5th Amendment right to remain silent. Okay? Yeah, anarchy is freedom. Take care of yourself, brother. You're gone, dude. You're gone. Anarchy is freedom. You're blocked from my channel, brother. I already went through this on TikTok, so I already understand. You losers are not getting my attention or my time. I'm going to focus purely on people who want to change this country. And I showed you guys a video the other day that very few people watched. We are on the cusp of change. History is circular. Every 60 to 120 years, it repeats. Maybe that's throughout time. I don't know. Go all the way back. I don't want to get into those things, but so we're on the verge right now. Remember, 1920 was prohibition. We're 100 years later. Plessy versus Ferguson was 1896. Brown versus Board of Education was 1954. That's 58 years. Terry versus Ohio is 1968. We're in 2022. 54, 55 years away from Terry, meaning that we're coming right up. We're coming right up on the cusp of change. It's going to be up to us. We are now the leaders of this generation. We are the leaders of this society. We are the media, and we are the power. We are the sovereign. We have the ability to change this dog system. I listened to my video back last night when that guy was asleep in his car, and I heard all the F-bombs I dropped, and I came home and I was just shaking my head like, if I can't control my language, how in the world can I control anything else? So I have I've recommitted to watching my language. I'm just, and it's just so that we're PBS acceptable. That's the only reason. The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene. Think how you want, but behave like others. It's one of the 48 Laws of Power. I've read the book 20 times at least. So I have to fit within a scope of it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's just absolutely silly. So, and just so you guys know, I didn't learn all these things in 3 months. All the information that I teach, I've been learning for 20 years. Since 2002, since I was no-knock rated by the cops, I've been researching and reading and researching and reading, and I never, ever stop researching and reading. Never. I never stop. Someone sent me cases yesterday that I haven't got a chance to take a look at. I'll take a look at those today. Someone sent me a text message with a bunch of cool cases. I can't wait to read those. I put them in my notes immediately. Oh, Seahawk, thank you so much for showing who you are, brother. Appreciate that. Take care of yourself, my friend. No, Patrick, I'm blocking people because I'm just going to put you in timeout, Patrick, so you can listen and fall in line like the follower you are, you piece of trash, right? Because, bootlicker. Because there's people who actually want to change this country. And I'm going to focus particularly on the people who want to change this country. And if you're a bootlicking piece of garbage, well, then I don't really care what you think, dude. And I'm not going to do what I did on TikTok, where I tried to engage and talk to them and say, well, what's wrong? You know, is everything okay? I don't give a shit what you think, dude. So I don't want you guys to have a back and forth with a cop. Their job is to try to take you to a dungeon. And so they may try to say that you were mentally ill, or that you were having a medical emergency, or all kinds of things. You don't know what they're going to try to say to take you to the dungeon. So as soon as he asks you where you're going and what you're doing, boom, invoke your Fifth Amendment right. Right there. Okay? Okay? Don't have a fight with the swine ball at your window. He's been taught his job. He gets more points for taking you to a dungeon. He gets bonus points for taking you away. He gets more points. He gets more money in his paycheck for arresting you. Literally. And you guys saw the cop, the interview I did with Dominic Izzo. And the cop, when he comes to the window, he's trying to take me to jail. Well, okay, Apocalypse Railroad, let's talk about your anarchy. You know, I asked you to challenge my idea that anarchy would work. Let me finish my thought, because someone who's said some garbage pulled me off. Use this. Invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Don't tell him you don't want to answer questions. Show him this and smile and say, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a great day. Okay? Someone said they saw me right here. I saw you on Dennis Sperling where you had some type of laminated trifold. It's right here, brother. This is what I'm talking about. I don't want you. Oh, so that right, what he's talking about, guys, and it's right here in my console. What I do is I put my license and my insurance and my registration on a laminated card. And the reason why I do that is because when a cop takes your license, he takes your property from you, and then he'll put it in his pocket like he has ownership over you. There's been lots of studies done on people's property, how people feel like their property is an extension of themselves. You know that because when you cut someone off in the car, they'll want to fight you, they'll road rage you. So when a cop pulls you over and he comes to your window and says license and registration, the first thing I do is I hand him this that has my license, my insurance, and my registration on it. If I don't like the cop or I feel in any way, I'll put it right there on the glass. There it is, right there. I don't even look at him sometimes. I've done that lots of times. I put my license, insurance, and I'm actually gonna change this. I'm gonna put it so the license, registration, insurance is all on one front. I put the insurance and my license on one. I put my registration on the back. But I'm gonna redo this. So that my license, my insurance, and my registration is all on one front so that I can stick it right there. But you know what? They have Pennsylvania versus Mims gives cops the right to order you out of the car for officer safety so they can pat you down, which is just, when you get out of the car, it's not safe for you. And we all know that. Okay. So, hey, thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. Ken, I was on it. This right here is what that gentleman was talking about that I showed on the Dennis Sperling show. You guys should all have one of these too, because let me tell you what happens, just so you know. You put your license, registration, and insurance on one card, and I have my registration on the back, which I'm going to change this today, okay? And you don't have to hand to them. But what they do is, when you do give them your license, what they do is they'll take your license and put it in their pocket. Now, that happened to me a lot in life, and it pissed me off every time, because you're taking ownership of my property and sticking my property in... Okay, let's take a break on you. There you go. So I don't like the cop taking my property and sticking it in his pocket. It literally makes me want to wrestle him. And I know I can't. It's against the law to grab him and throw him on the ground and then kick him. So he can take this, and you know what? I got another one in my back pocket right here. I got another one. I have another one right there behind this seat. I have another one of these exactly like this right over there. So if he takes this and says, I'm going to keep it, go ahead, bro. I'm out. I don't want them taking my stuff and putting it in their pocket. It pisses me off. License and insurance and registration, and don't do it like I did. Stick it all right on the front. Put it on one so that you can go like this and then just not look at them. Just don't even look at them, right? I mean, I don't want you guys to have confrontations with cops. And then if he asks you where you're going or what you're doing, you just straight up invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Just invoke it immediately. Don't wait. License and registration, here you go. Do you know how fast you were going? Here you go, officer. Do you know why I pulled you over? Here you go, officer. I don't want to ask him, why'd you pull me over? No engagement with that demon at your window whose job is to take you to a freaking dungeon. His whole goal in life is to arrest you. If you say anything, say that you speak with a speech impediment. When we talk, you have a little bit of a speech impediment when we talk like this, right? And so when you're talking, you talk like this. And so the guy he's going to assume that maybe you had something to drink. And so you don't want to speak to him too much. You want to just immediately invoke your Fifth Amendment right. So let's just play it out real quick. Cop comes up. I roll my window down a little bit. He's got it right here. License and registration, proof of insurance. Here you go, officer. You might even want to put it right there so he can just look at it, but he may want it. That's fine, because it's just a laminated copy. I don't give a damn. I give it to him. There you go, officer. He says, do you know why I pulled you over? Oh, I'm so sorry, officer. 1 second. Boom. Pull it down from my visor. I invoke my fifth. There you go. And indicate that you invoke your Fifth Amendment right. Indicate that you invoke your Fifth Amendment right. You have to literally indicate. If you do not indicate, according to the Supreme Court, you have not invoked your Fifth Amendment right. Right there. Point at it. Use your point at it. And by the way, just so you know, the whole time this is happening, I have my phone in my hand right here, and I'm going like this. License and registration. I give this to him. He takes it, and he says, "Do you know how fast you were going?" I pull this down from my visor, and I go right here. And I'm pointing right at. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Right there. Show it to him. Put it right in his face. Here you go, officer. There you go. Well, where are you heading? You're, and this says you have the right not to self-incriminate. You have the right not to bear witness against yourself. And he's going to say things like, "Oh, well, I'm not arresting you. I'm not taking, you're not under, you're not." He'll lie. He will lie. Every time a cop moves his mouth, you're being investigated. Every time a cop talks to you, you're being investigated. Do not enter into their investigation sphere. Do not. You simply show him this. And don't speak anymore. Don't talk. Do not talk. Give him this. Do not engage with this guy whose goal is to take you to a dungeon. That's his goal. He gets more points. Oh. Just the mere thought that his whole job is to arrest you makes me want to vomit. And as I talk to you guys out loud, it's true. It's 100% true. This guy's job is to arrest you. Whether he says, "I smell marijuana," or "I'm going to search your car," or "Where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you heading from? Where are you coming from?" And he'll say, "Oh, this is a high crime area. A lot of people run drugs up and down in here." And you just reiterate, "I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right. Sorry." You can even say it if you want to. "I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent." There you go. Well, is this, and then he'll say stupid shit to try to get you to answer. Dang it, I said a curse word. I'm trying to beat it. And then he'll say stupid stuff like, is this your current address? Is your address your current address on right here? Repeat. Repeat with your finger tapping. And smile. I hope you're having a great day today, officer. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? Such a nice day outside. Well, where are you coming from? Gosh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Well, where are you going? Well, I'm going to search your car. I do not consent to any searches and seizures. It says it right there. Now, I put a little bit more in here, a little extra. And just so you guys know, I put a little extra in here just for the dumb cop who pulled you over. Because they're dumb. They're not educated. They don't go home and read Carroll versus United States. These are the most uneducated dunce caps in America. These are the most uneducated morons. When the cop pulls you over, remember the guy at the window is a dork. He's a dork. He's a dunce cap. He's dumb. Most of these guys are dumb. Oh, it's on DeleteLawZ.com. DeleteLawZ with a Z. That's the website right there if you guys want to get it. DeleteLawZ. And by the way, if you can't afford it, I'll send you a free one. I'll send you a free one you can print out on your own. For those of you guys who can't afford it, this is indestructible paper. So you can't tear it, you can't rip it. This paper right here is indestructible. The ones that you buy. That's why it's expensive, because this paper is high-end paper. You can't tear this, you can't rip it. The paper is indestructible. That's why I have it like this. I don't want to get to just, because you know what I mean. You put a piece of paper that you printed out in your glove box in like 4 months, it's just a wadded up piece of garbage. So if he says, I'm going to search your car, right here, you show him this. And the Carroll doctrine is quite clear. The reasons you can warrantlessly search my car is to prevent a loss of life if you're in hot pursuit or to seize illegal alcohol. Officer, are you in hot pursuit? Do you believe that you had to seize illegal alcohol out of my car? I question him. But you can just show him this. And by the way, the Carroll doctrine, just a fancy way to say tyranny. We created tyranny at the Supreme Court, and now we're spreading it to everything. So the Carroll doctrine is very clear. It's very clear. There's 3 reasons why they can warrantlessly search your car. So, but I woke up this morning and I got a bunch of emails and text messages, and I started to think to myself, man, are people watching what I'm doing and then thinking that they're going to go and do the same thing? I don't want you to do it, man. I don't want you to do it. I really don't. I've been to the dungeon a lot. And if you do get arrested and this piece of garbage takes you to the dungeon, you have to become a beta male or a beta female. You can't talk. Don't interact with anybody. If this piece of garbage takes you to the dungeon, stop interaction, stop talking, lose your personality, go mute. Don't involve yourself with anybody in the dungeon because of the 1980 case of Johnson versus Glick, which makes it so that you don't have any rights. So those are my 2 pieces of friendship information that I can share with you. Number 1, put your license, registration, and proof of insurance on a laminated card. I'm going to put it all in the front, by the way, now. I see the error of my ways here because I want to be able to show them this, and then I flip it over for registration. But this is my license and my insurance, and then my proof of registration here. I keep it taped up so that I can slow down the traffic stop. Because this guy's going to be going fast. I want to slow him down. I don't want him to be going fast. I want to slow this tyrant at my window down. I want to slow down the pace of this interaction with this piece of garbage at my window. Okay? And so that's why I have tape on here, because now when I'm going to give this to him, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tape off of this nice and slow down the interaction. And then when I have to take off my proof of registration, I'm going to slow down the action by having to take the tape off of here. I don't want to go fast. I don't want him going fast. You should have this done in your car. I have 2 of them. I have one here and I have one behind the seat right here. I only have 2 hands though, so I can't grab it. So you see, you want to have a couple of these. Okay? Protect yourself. Set yourself up for success so that this guy at the window can't ruin you. You guys do me a favor, hit the number 1 button. Let me know where city, state you're from, or just state or country. That's fine. I'm not trying to locate anybody here. It gives me a barometer for how many Americans are in here and how many people from out of other countries are in here. So hit the number 1 button. Let me know what city, state you're from, so I just know. And then everybody reach over and hit your like button if you would, please. I'm just so bad at this social media stuff. Remember, I've only been on social media for 6 or 7 months, so I'm just learning how it all works. So, you know, reach over and hit the like button. Take your finger, this finger right here, and then just reach down to that thumbs up button and just tap it. Little tap, tap, tappy. Everybody likes a little tap, tap, tappy, don't they? Yes, they do. I am traveling. It looks like I got to head back to Arizona to file my appeal. It looks like I have to go back there to file the appeal. I don't know if I have to file it in person, but I'm going to file it online and I'm going to send it in certified. But I'm going to appeal that ticket, that the Tempe, and then I'm coming after that judge legally. You're in trouble, babe. I'm coming after you. You think you're not. Guess what we're going to do? It's all legal. It's all through the courts. So don't worry. I'm not a violent person. I have no criminal record of assault or anything like that. I'm not threatening your life. I'm not threatening you physically. I'm saying I'm coming after you, honey, bunny. Miss former prosecutor, current prosecutor, who then went behind the bench and practiced law, you piece of trash. So get it printed out. Get a copy of this, get it done. It's not hard. It'll take you an hour or 2 at the most, and that's if you got to go to Kinko's or FedEx or Office Depot and get this printed out. Get it printed out so you have it in your car. Okay? And then as soon as he starts to ask you where you're going, what you're doing, you invoke your 5th Amendment right. I invoke my 5th Amendment right immediately. And I put the 5th Amendment right on the lower right-hand side of the trifold so that you would be able to quickly grab it. If you have the trifold as a piece of paper, like that, it's just a regular piece of paper, or a regular piece of paper size, then I invoke my 5th is on the lower right-hand side right there. Right there. I just like to keep it in a trifold so it fits under my visor nice and smooth. Immediately invoke your 5th Amendment right. I'm not going to speak. That's it. Okay? I'm not going to speak. And you can indicate your 5th Amendment right simply by taking your finger and tapping. Well, where are you going? Where are you coming from? What are you doing today? You been drinking today? And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So, yeah, there in most states, in most states, it does not say that you have to. It says you have to present your identification. Well, this isn't fake. It's not fake. I'm not giving you fake ID. You're going to look it up. It's going to have my information on it, my height, my size, my weight, my previous, my driving record will all be on there. It's legal. That's a legal document. And just so you guys know, one of the times I was arrested, I told you guys I've been arrested 20 times. I was driving home from work. I was working at a nightclub in Texas. I was driving through Euless, Texas. And as I was driving home from Euless, a cop pulled me over. And he came up to the window and he said, license and registration. I have the original document in my pocket. He said, license and registration. And I had left my ID at the bar, the nightclub I was working at. I left my ID at the bar. And I said to him, officer, I'm so sorry, I don't have my driver's license. I left it at work. I said, but I know my driver's license number. And I rattled off my driver's license number, which back then it was a Oregon driver's license, I believe. But I knew the driver's license off the top of my head. It might have been a Texas driver's license. I think it was a Texas driver's license because I'd been in Texas for 4 years at that point. So I'm pretty sure I had a Texas driver's license. The cop comes up to me and he says, license and registration. I pull the registration out and it's my girlfriend's car that I'm driving. So the registration is not in my name. I tell him my full name, my date of birth, give him my driver's license number. He goes back to the car with the registration, comes back up and he says, step out of the car. And I stepped out of the car and he put me in handcuffs and arrested me in Euless, Texas. Yeah. I was in jail from that Friday night when I got off work. I missed work on Saturday night, which was my big money night for work, as you know if you ever work in a bar. It was my big money night on Saturday night. He arrested me on Friday night and took me to the dungeon. My girlfriend obviously was out of town, so I couldn't call her. And I can't call collect on a cell phone anyway. And then when he took me to the dungeon, I sat in jail till Tuesday. I was in jail from Friday night when I got off work until Tuesday. I missed work Saturday and Sunday, my big money nights. And that piece of garbage took me to the jail for not having my driver's license on me. And I said, why are you arresting me? And he said, I can't figure out who you are. I said, what are you talking about? I gave you my driver's license number. You can look it up, my height, my weight. I gave you my date of birth. Everything's coming back. And he said, but I can't verify that's who you are. And he arrested me. Well, what I found out that year was the year that Civic Corps had funded all of the politicians in Texas for the for-profit prison industry. And Civic Corps had written all of the legislation that was what was arrestable and what was not. And not having your identification when you get pulled over became an arrestable offense because Texas was using for-profit prisons. And that's why I got arrested. And that piece of garbage who arrested me, you're the reason why I am the way I am today, bud. And I swear to God, I wish I could get that son of a bitch and put him in a cage. To this day, it makes me mad. Oh, and by the way, then when I went to jail, I had to crush a guy. I had to crush a guy. I had to slam him on the ground, and I did. The Latinos, there was Latinos in there, mi amo Jose Maria, and this guy came up to me and said to me, oh, tu amo Jose? And my Spanish is terrible. I said, yo, mi amo Jose, ¿cómo está, señor? And then he's like, oh, you ain't Jose. And then it started to escalate. And then a bunch of people started to gather around and he started to confront me. Boom! I slammed him on the ground. It took 2 seconds. He hit the back of his head on the ground, out. His friends picked him up. But that guy who got his head cracked because I was put into a dungeon, you have no choice when you're put in the dungeon. If someone confronts you within the general population and they want to take you on, I had already been, I'm not going to allow it to happen. So that Mexican kid who I slammed him on his head, he got slammed on his head because this cop arrested me for no reason. And so then when I was in the dungeon, the guy walked up to me and because I didn't speak Spanish very well and my name is Jose, he went crazy on me and started to scream and yell at me. So as soon as he got right up in my face and put his face on mine, I inside tripped him. Inside trip is a wrestling move. I popped his shoulders and he hit the ground and the back of his head smacked the ground, out cold. So that guy got knocked out because the cop arrested me for no reason. So once again, you should have everything on this. Everything should be laminated and you should immediately invoke your Fifth Amendment right not to speak. And don't have the back and forth with the cop. You're trying to get out of the ticket. You're not trying to get the ticket. You're trying to beat that ticket. You don't want to have that ticket. It's a bitch. It's a bitch. It really is. You don't want to do that. Invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. And don't speak. Don't speak. So I'm just giving you guys the best friendly advice I could give you because I don't want you guys and remember, I've wrestled and fought my whole life. If that had been you and there had been 10 guys behind the guy who confronted me in jail in Texas that time, because my name's Jose and I didn't speak very good Spanish, and there was 10 guys behind him, backing him up. And so I knew that I had a very limited window to diffuse this. And when he got face to face with me and his face hit my face, that gave me the license to slam him. And I did. The fight lasted a total of 3 seconds. He stepped in my face. I put my leg in between his, inside step, popped his shoulders, out. And when he got knocked unconscious, all those other guys kind of stepped back. So, do you know how to do an inside trip? Have you done it 10,000 times? In a dungeon with 10 people behind him? Are you sure you know how you would react? Your job is to survive the stop and try to not get the ticket and to invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. That you're supposed to survive this. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. The guy always gets arrested. The man always gets arrested. If you're a girlfriend or your wife or your lover, and I'm talking about a female, if I'm talking to the guys here, if your girlfriend, wife, lover, best friend, mother, sister, if any woman picks up the phone and dials 911 on you and says, is out of control, this guy's out of control, he's, screaming at me or breaking things or whatever. As soon as that woman calls the police on you, if you're a guy and a woman calls the police on you, you leave. You leave. You leave immediately. Grab the couple things you need and walk out the door. You're going to jail otherwise. So if you're a man and a woman calls the cops on you, Leave immediately. Don't stay there. You're not going to talk it out with the tyrant at your window. He's going to come there and want to be a hero to that chick. And listen, I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong. He may have hit her. How do I know? But what I'm saying is, if you don't want to go to the dungeon, if a woman calls the cops on you and you're a man, your job is to leave immediately. I got a phone call 3 years ago from a friend of mine in Hollywood. Very close friend, one of my best friends. He calls me and he says, hey, Tina has called the police on me and told them that I have an unregistered gun under my bed, which back 2 years ago, California changed the AR-15 laws that if your gun was shaped like this or looked like this, that the gun was illegal. Now, my AR-15 was the same as his AR-15, but his AR-15 was shaped different than mine. And so the state of California, because it looks scary, the state of California outlawed it. So my buddy had this AR-15 under his bed that was unregistered, and now, because the new law was now illegal. This is 3 years ago. And he calls me up and says, listen, my girlfriend just went nuts on me, called the cops, said that I'm beating her and that I have an illegal AR-15 under my bed. And I said, then that means the SWAT team is coming. Leave now. And he said, well, should I? I said, no, leave. Get your stuff and leave now. So he runs out the door, grabs his wallet, grabs his keys and leaves. He goes across the street and guess what happens? The SWAT team shows up. A SWAT LAPD van. A van, like one of the UPS vans or FedEx vans. A SWAT team shows up because she told the cops on the phone that he had an unregistered AR-15 under his bed. The SWAT team showed up. The entire SWAT team. He was watching from across the street. Woman calls the cops on you, your job is to leave and leave immediately. If you're drunk, don't get in a car, walk, leave. Don't stay there. You're going to go to jail either way. You're not fleeing a scene because you don't want to be around a fight or a disagreement with someone that you're involved with. So, and then I'll get out. Always, always, always invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. If he says he smells marijuana, you show him this other side here. If he says he's going to search your car, you show him the search your car part. But more than anything else, please don't have a fight back and forth. Please don't fight with that cop. This guy's a piece of garbage, and we all know it. So, put that back in my console. All right. I got about 20 other things to do today. I got to file that appeal for the state of Arizona. I'm appealing that ticket, and then I'm going after that judge legally, and I'm going to take her down. That municipal, she's not even a judge. She was a magistrate. She was a fill-in magistrate. I'm sweating. Look at that. Woo, how are you doing, sexy? Anyway, okay, cool. So listen, you guys share the message, share the word. You can get my Trifold on DeleteLawZ.com. If you don't have the money for the indestructible paper, there's a $15 bill download one. If you don't have that, just email me and I'll give it to you for free. I'll send it to you for free. I sent off 50 yesterday, at least. I sat last night until I passed out, just sending off free Trifolds to people last night until I passed out. And so I think I passed out around 1 o'clock in the morning. I got up at 7. So I got 6 hours of sleep, man. I am amazing today. If I can go on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, pretty much. I can always go on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And make sure today, take your time. It's Sunday. Go down today, if you would please. Go down today and get your license, registration, and proof of insurance on a laminated card so that when the cop takes your stuff and puts it in his pocket, you're not pissed off. When the cop takes my stuff and puts it in his pocket, I am pissed. I don't like him putting my license in his pocket. And they do it to me every time they pull me over. So that's why I created this. When I see this go viral and everybody has one of these, then I know we're actually making a difference. Your license, insurance, and registration should all be... Oh, sorry about that. Let me kill that. Is that better for the... I'm sorry about the AC. Yeah, it was a little bit hot, but I could just open this stuff up here. Get a little more light in here anyway. So take your time today and go down and get your license and insurance and registration all put on and put it on the front. I made a mistake here. I put it on the front. I put it on the front and the back, and then I got to flip it over. But if I was you, I would recommend that when I redo this, I'll do it so that it's all on the front. So it's all on the front. So But you can get this done today. It's Sunday. It won't take long. And then take a picture and send it to me so I know that you did it. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. And then the cops coming up, license and registration. You give him this one card, and he says, where are you going today? And you say, oh, here you go, officer. Here you go, officer. Oh, is it Saturday? Shoot, I said it was Sunday. Sorry. That's how much I'm in tune with the weekend plans to go have fun. I guess I do know it's Saturday because Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal fight tonight in MMA. I can't wait to watch that fight. You know, it's funny because a lot of the UFC champions who you may have heard or know of, I've fought those guys. I've trained with a lot of those guys, tons of them. My generation is starting to pass now in MMA. I'm past the age. So a lot of the guys I trained with in the 2000s, a lot of those guys in the very late 90s and early 2000s, the champions of the UFC are who the guys I was fighting with when I was training MMA. And then throughout the 2000s till 2013, I think I fought all the way until 2013 or so. And then, but a lot of those guys who you see on those cards, I was fighting with in all throughout the 2000s in LA and at 10th Planet. I've rolled around with Joe Rogan a few times. I've trained with Rogan. I've seen him. He doesn't know me. He wouldn't remember me. He's trained with thousands and thousands of people. But I trained with Rogan at Legends in Los Angeles. Legends gym is now closed. So I rolled with Rogan a couple times. That was pretty cool. But, you know, I've just been down the road. I've been down the road. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. I missed a day. No, whatever. So it's Saturday today. You have time to please go get this done. Go get this done. And then take a picture and send it to me. And your stuff should be all covered up so no one can see it anyway. My stuff's all covered up. Yeah, everything's covered. Other than my donor button, I'm an organ donor. So there it is. All right, cool. Any questions? Do you have any questions? Oh, my friend, I hate to tell you this, but you're probably in the wrong channel for me, dude. You're probably in the wrong channel. Joe Rogan is a patriot, and Joe Rogan is a truth seeker, and Joe Rogan has pointed out every single flaw in this government. And I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan. Not only have I rolled with him in jiu-jitsu, I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan. And if you don't like that, feel free to go. I don't care. But it's just, you know, anybody who's going to talk about the truth, taxation is not theft. It's in the 10th Amendment. A boring sandwich. You might want to read that 10th Amendment. So, and the 10th Amendment gives the Congress the power to tax. So it's not theft. Now, the 16th Amendment may be tyrannical, but again, you're going to go back to the 10th Amendment, which gives the government the right to tax. I don't know what a CCL is. Would you put the CCL? What is a CCL? I don't know what that. I don't know what CCL is. Is that a commercial carry license? Is that what that is? Commercial carry license? Which, by the way, you know, you don't have to answer any. It is a concealed carry license. No, I wouldn't even show that to the cop. Where in the Constitution does it say that you have to tell a cop that you have a firearm? Where does it say that? That's the Supremacy Clause. That you have a Second Amendment right to bear arms. It doesn't say you have a Second Amendment right to bear arms, but make sure you show your concealed carry license. It doesn't say that, does it? Every single gun law, including CCL licenses, are unconstitutional, based on racism, and should be wiped off the books. And when I get to executive power, whether it be in Arizona or California, I'm going to wipe away the gun laws. They're garbage. They're not saving anybody. It's just creating a criminal out of someone who wants to carry a gun. Right now, as I travel the country, I'd like to carry a gun right here. I'd like to have a gun on me right here. But then as I drive through each and every different state, I have to be careful. No, listen, taxation, listen, I'm not going to get into a big debate about taxes here. Read the 10th Amendment. The government has the right to tax. It's in our founding documentation. Taxes should be voted on, and you should be able to decide generally where your tax dollars go. My idea for executive power is that we're going to tax, you have to tax, but then the American people get to vote on, with their money, where they want their dollars only stay in America. Their dollars can't go to war. Their dollars can't go to cops. I want to create that. I still have not looked it up, but there's an actual term where the money pools together and then you're not allowed to dictate where your money goes. I don't know where that is. But listen, I got 2 videos out that are, one's called EDU EDU EDU, and the other is what WTF something. Those 2 videos are pure education. Please go watch those. Please go watch those. You can get the Trifold on DeleteLawZ.com with a Z. DeleteLawZ.com with a Z. I believe it's on the bottom. You can barely see the DeleteLawZ. You can see it right there. It's red. It's red and black at the bottom. Go to DeleteLawZ.com. Right there. Right there. Yeah, I don't think income tax should be taxed either. That's the 16th Amendment. So we can get into that. I'll do a whole talk on the 16th Amendment, okay? I'll do a whole talk on it, all right? All right? All right. Article 1, Section 8, just because somebody wrote it down doesn't... Oh, it's not. I'm not saying it's right. I didn't say it was right. I'm just saying it's in our founding documentation. And as you know, I can't be a constitutionalist and then pick and choose what I like about the Constitution. I have to be willing to say, okay, well, this was our founding documentation. And some of those, you know, Article 2, Section 3, Paragraph 4 is directly racist. So, you know, there's some stuff in there that's not good, obviously. But anyway, I will get the flock out of here. Thank you guys for letting me speak. I really appreciate it. Keep on contacting me. Keep sending me Supreme Court cases that I need to know. Keep sending me case precedent that I need to know. Keep sending me information. Keep sending me your videos. Send me your videos where you have been cheated. We don't stop. And we don't stop. We don't ever stop. We don't stop until one of us is in executive power and we change this system. That's what has to happen, okay? That's what has to happen, all right? Thanks for letting me speak. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking your time with me today. God bless you. God bless the United States, and we fight on. We don't ever stop. We don't ever stop, all right? Talk to you guys soon.